right. Well, let's get a view from somebody who's stuck into that trading deal. That's Denis Sowler, export manager of a company called Tithebarn, based in Cheshire. They make salt licks. Don't worry, Dennis is going to explain.
Yep.
Blocks
Good
of
morning.
minerals that
Good morning,
livestock
Adam.
lick.
Dennis here in Singapore.
Good morning, Dennis. Right, you're in Singapore. David Cameron is on his way via a couple of other countries to you. First of all, I have said you make salt licks. What is a salt lick?
Right, we make salt licks, which we call Rockies, and very, very simply, what we would do, we would take 10 kilos of pure vacuum salt, the same high quality you would put on your chips at home. We'll blend that with some trace minerals and vitamins, and then we've got some very heavy hydraulic presses, which work at about 10,000 kilos per square inch pressure, and we'll just literally press that into one big solid 10-inch cube, and it's called a Rocky because it's as hard as rock. And you're going to say to me, well, what do the animals do with them? And quite literally, they just lick them like a huge lollipop. They love salt, they love the taste, they love the flavor. And when they do that, this can help them digest their feed better, help them take more water on board, and generally will improve their productivity. So a cow will give you more milk, a beef animal will give you better quality meat, sheep will give you better, finer wool, and just generally improve the profits of the farmer.
Right, well, you've convinced me. How do you go about convincing Southeast Asia?
That's a long story. We're doing quite well. I mean, as a company, we export about 10,000 tons of these Rockies every year, and I would say 65% of that is already going to Southeast Asia. We're operating China, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, and Myanmar. But it's hard work and it takes a lot of time. China took us, for example, 12 years to get to the state where we are. But last year it accounted for 40% of everything we manufactured.
And what other emerging markets are you looking at? Because it sounds like you've got a good presence over there. Where next, do you think?
Well, I'm always trying for India because there's a huge number of cows. One of the problems out there is everything seems to have one or two cows, and marketing is very difficult. Brazil has a huge number of cattle, of course, but there's political problems, there's financial problems, and I know we're trying for anywhere, Middle East, but Southeast Asia is always very good for us.
But, Dennis, I wanted to say, doesn't everywhere in the world have access to sort of lumps of salt themselves? Why is a British salt lick something that a Southeast Asian
that's a really
farmer
good
would
question,
buy?
Because if you take China, for example, it's probably the largest salt producer in the world. The salt which we're using, people say to me, how long's your shelf life, Dennis? And I say, well, I'll give you 5 years, but it actually started 200 million years ago, because where our factory is in Cheshire was, at that time when the dinosaurs were there, that was actually the sea. And then as the earth heated up and the water evaporated, the salt got, encrusted about 200 metres beneath the ground in Cheshire. And it's some of the finest, purest salt that you can actually get in Europe. But what makes the difference with our blocks is the presses we're using. We make them rock hard. I talk about a 10-inch cubic lick. Some of the cheaper ones made in Southeast Asia, they're probably 12 or 13-inch cubes. Doesn't sound a lot of difference, but when you get weather like we've got here in Singapore, it's absolutely chucking it down now. You get the rain on a salt, which, as you can imagine, is hydroscopic. That block would just fall to bits and it'd be a mush on the floor, and people have wasted whatever currency they paid for it. Ours are rock hard and they stay that way. Pressed harder to last longer.
Right, Dennis, let us know how it goes. And by the way, you're not missing much in terms of the weather back home. It's chucking it down back here. That is Denis Sowler. He's out in Singapore selling his salt licks. There we go.